ain't see me, you Stevie. Wondering how I reach more evolutions than Eevee and make it look easy.
What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It is your boy Ernie, the Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. All right, so today's video, I'm going to be talking about Absolute Power number 3, written by Mark Waid, with art by Dan Mora, colors by Alejandro Sanchez, and letters by Ariana Mayer. This is the penultimate issue of Absolute Power. We only have one more left, and of course, there's the tie-ins that'll be a part of it, but I will probably do a separate video for some of the tie-ins kind of in between now and then. I might do one for the Absolute Origins book. I'm not going to do one for Task Force because those books come up kind of regularly, and honestly, a lot of it I can kind of sum up in this video, just the most recent one. But yeah, this issue is the one where Amanda Waller finally recognizes that she done goofed. This is the thing that I've kind of been talking about as of late with Absolute Power. The fact that Amanda Waller is using Amazo tech in concert with the Brainiac Queen's own artificial intelligence and know-how to create these new upgraded Amazos that can not only absorb the power of the nearby heroes and villains alike, but also seems to be able to permanently remove the powers of any superhero or villain. But there was a catch to that, and it was that the Amazos were starting to take some of the personality traits of the heroes and villains whose powers they had absorbed. We saw this with The Last Sun, as well as Jadestone, and Depth Charge, not so much. Last Sun, but more specifically Jadestone and Velocity, we saw that there were some things that were going on with them over the course of some of the past Absolute Power Task Force 7 issues. And in the most recent issue of Task Force 7, issue number 5, we saw that Velocity was trying to learn how to fully gain access to all of the Speedster's powers. Velocity had already taken all the abilities of every other Speedster. The only ones he hadn't fully conquered were Wally West and Barry Allen, and now he's up against Barry Allen, and he's trying to use the Speedster's patented vibration technique that is something that has been long associated with pretty much all the Flashes on some level or another, the ability to vibrate their molecules so fast that they're able to phase through solid matter. And on a bit of a journey of discovery, trying to figure out how to do this himself, Velocity winds up slick, becoming a little bit more human just by virtue of analyzing the memories of all the other Speedsters whose powers he's already absorbed. And in doing so, learning that yes, you do have to rely on some of your core memories, the things that matter most to you. Those are the things you need in order to enact this ability, to use it in the same way that Barry and Wally and Jay Garrick and everybody else does. The problem is that this has made him just somewhat a little more human. It doesn't necessarily make him good. It doesn't make him good, not in the way that Jadestone had become conflicted. I think Jadestone's probably the one who is the most conflicted of any of the Amazos thus far. Failsafe, while also part of Task Force 7 and is more directly looked into in Absolute Power Task Force 7 number 4, he doesn't really get the same things that happen to the other ones. His tech is a little bit different, but also very similar in a lot of aspects, but he has the master switch on each of the different Amazos. He's able to reboot them because he does recognize that there's something wrong. And while he's had his own encounters with Dick Grayson where they've had a battle of ideologies, one that neither one actually wins, Nightwing doesn't get one up on Failsafe in terms of changing his ideology, and Failsafe is no closer to convincing Nightwing that what he's doing is wrong than you yourself would be to successfully making a soup sandwich that doesn't get all over the place. It just is what it is. These characters are not going to change their minds. But in the case of Jadestone and Velocity, he recognizes there's a problem, and I would also say to an extent he probably also recognizes Last Sun also has issues. So this is pretty much where he puts in the reboot that is going to set all these characters back. And I'm pretty sure as we get back to Absolute Task Force, you're probably in issue 6 or so, we'll probably see where everything's gonna kind of flip. Jade Stone and Velocity, maybe something might happen there with them that would cause them to go back to business as usual. But I could also see an opportunity where maybe they might override this themselves. Maybe something will happen that will allow them to maintain the personalities that they have established thus far. But the other major thing that's going on here, and one thing I actually really like about this issue is, we talked about in the previous one where Nightwing was getting respect put on his name. He was getting respect put on his name in regards to being the leader of the last bastion of hope for the DC Comics universe. And he proves it once again that he is that guy. He is Batman's, heir to the cowl. Like, I know that the battle for the cowl was a long time ago, and while yes, Dick Grayson, he became Batman, but that got wiped away because of New 52 or whatever, and technically it's all kind of sort of back again because of Doomsday Clock. But point of the matter is, he is the heir apparent, and he has proven it. He has proven it. He has been able to think 10, 15, 20 chess moves ahead and use everyone to the best of their ability in order to enact the plan, and even keeping some people in the dark about the plan just to ensure that the plan goes off without a hitch. Because right now, Amanda Waller has everything. She has the Brainiac Queen, capable of overriding and overtaking just about any artificial intelligence or any technological infrastructure in the world. She has proven it time and again since this whole thing kicked off. All of the fake news that's been pumping out into the world, all of the artificial intelligence generated videos that people have seen of heroes attacking normal people, all of that stuff is the Brainiac Queen, full stop. But she has also been invading other countries. She's already taken out other superpowers. And while Amanda Waller says she has no interest in taking over foreign governments, let's be real. It is well within her to oversee them. I mean, she's already taken the Hall of Justice and turned it into the Hall of Order and created a Ministry of Order outside of that. She is more than capable of asserting complete and total control. As a matter of fact, what she is creating ultimately, it's fascism. Full stop. Like, you could also make a case for totalitarianism as well, but I mean, yeah, this is basically what it is. I mean, because she is, I would probably lean more fascism just in terms of the fact that she is specifically going after superpowered people, and even in a lot of cases working with some people that are clearly villains to get the job done, which, I mean, that's on brand for her. I mean, she is literally the person behind the Suicide Squad, Task Force X, if you're nasty. But yeah, this is well within her right. She would do this. And it all makes sense. And to get back to maybe some things that happen, because we talked about villainy, we already know that she's working with the crime syndicate of Earth 3. This was revealed in Task Force 7, number 5, just as what we were just talking about with Velocity. We saw at the very end of that Superwoman, the Donna Troy of Earth 3, she is working in tandem with her as well as the rest of the crime syndicate, because she is using all of these different multiversal people to help her in her efforts. She doesn't want the heroes using the multiverse, but once again, this is one of those rules for thee, not for me situations going on here, and that's once again, yet another thing, very on brand for Amanda Waller. But now that she knows that the Amazos have the capacity to slip up, and also even more importantly, just showing that, how much she didn't account for this. This wasn't something she even considered could happen. Even Failsafe, well, he seems to have been aware that something like this could potentially happen. He didn't necessarily expect it. The fact that even the slightest bit of morality could seep into the Amazos. And I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's actually cool that because it seems like on paper, Amanda Waller thought of everything except that. Amanda Waller can do whatever she wants. She can take over the world. She can take out all the superheroes, all the villains. She can remove every superpower in the world. But at the end of the day, it's not that makes superheroes who they are. It's the fact that they're able to inspire. And the fact that even though all this other stuff has been going on, Amazos have been depowering heroes left and right, new heroes are stepping up to take their place. And while they don't necessarily get a lot of fanfare, they get a few pages dedicated to them. There's a couple of characters who pop up in this that I think are of particular note, who we get an introduction to. One being Cadejos, and the other being Rana Dorada. These are brand new characters. This is actually their first appearance. It's difficult to say exactly who or what they are, but I will definitely say that Rana Dorada seems to be kind of a Spider-Man-esque type of hero, and we see that Kadejos is basically a flaming werewolf. But once again, we don't know anything about these characters, but I think it's so cool that we got this here. Like, it's nice to see that, yeah, you took down all the heroes, but you can't stop people from stepping up and doing what's right, and that's kind of the core. That's really the core message here. I think a lot of people might see it as one thing, but this is definitely the core message in all of this. The other thing that comes up here is getting back to Nightwing, the Nightwing of it all. Nightwing actually even shows like he's willing to stand even up to the likes of Big Barda in terms of fighting back against her when she says that they need to kill Jon Kent, because right now Jon Kent is Amanda Waller's super son, and he's been taken over by the Brainiac Queen, as we've seen in previous issues, and he does have the power, especially now that he's unchecked. He's always had the power, but the fact that this is basically a Superman who is unchecked, he has no morals, he has no qualms, he has no scruples, he will kill if necessary, and he is seemingly happy to do so. And the fact that you think about like a show like The Boys, we see Homelander do stuff like this all the time. He is effectively a Homelander right now, just without the personality quirks. And yeah, he could easily kill everyone. He could end the whole resistance in the blink of an eye, literally the blink of a laser eye. And Big Barda recognizes that, and she thinks they need to take him down before they get him first. And while they're all hiding out on Themyscira, which is technically not the worst idea in the world, but it is also kind of a rough situation for the Themysciras, because as it's noted here, they still have the whole Tom King Wonder Woman stuff going on with the ban on Amazonians in the United States, the fight against the US government, the whole Amazon's attack deal. They're still dealing with their own problems. I did find it interesting that Nubia needed to be convinced to let the resistance hang out on the island, which, I mean, to be fair, she's trying to protect her people, so I totally get that part, but I do appreciate they didn't do a lot of hemming and hawing about it. That part I would have felt that would have been out of character for Nubia. Because that's not really who she is as a hero. I mean, yeah, she is kind of like Diana in the sense that she's one of the more pragmatic Amazons, but she's not that pragmatic. She's gonna do what's right at the end, and she does. And she doesn't even seem as upset about the fact that war has been brought to her doorstep, while she's already fighting one. On top of that. So that part's pretty cool. And I like all the other stuff that's going on here too. Just the infighting, the back and forth between all the different characters about what's the next move and how they're going to tackle the Brainiac Queen. And just the simple fact that they've set opposition in place for if and when Jon Kent shows up, which I thought was pretty cool. I thought they actually did a really fantastic job with that. It's something that really sets the tone for just how dire the circumstances are. And also the fact that so many different characters are getting caught slipping in this. Red Tornado and various other characters are getting laid down. And we also know that, while the Brainiac Queen has been caught, she's been caught up in this. They've been able to awaken Jon Kent in such a way that he's able to force feedback all the things that the Brainiac Queen has learned over the years that was been taught to her by Amanda Waller, and able to show that there's conflict with what Amanda Waller has taught her, that a lot of these things are not actually true. And I like how we don't get the immediate answer, but I like the fact that it's not done in such a way. It's like, okay, hey, we got to pad this thing out. It's like, no, Amanda Waller does the thing that makes the most sense. Yes, of course. Well, she loves this Brainiac Queen as if they were her own child. She doesn't love her so much that she wouldn't put fail-safes into her, that she could control her if and when she got out of line. And that's exactly what she does to try and protect that relationship. Like, yes, the cat's out of the bag. The Brainiac Queen knows the truth now, but it's not gonna matter. And I'm gonna go on a limb and say we'll probably get something in the middle. I don't think it'll be in Absolute Power number 4, but there'll probably be something in the middle, somewhere in one of the Task Force issues, or maybe, I don't think it'll be in the Amanda Waller, like the Absolute Origins tie-in. I don't think it'll be there, because that's largely built on stuff that's happening before now. We're probably going to get a little more insight into their relationship, and the Brainiac Queen and Amanda Waller are going to have it out. They're going to have it out, and who knows? It's difficult to say if the Brainiac Queen will stick by Amanda Waller's side, but I think the best outcome would be if, instead of leaving the Brainiac Queen as as a villain, I'm actually hoping maybe they pull a legion of superheroes with this one. I'm hoping that once it's all done, the Brainiac Queen becomes, I mean, you know, she doesn't have to necessarily be a heroic figure. I would like to see her as a less villainous one. Maybe someone who's kind of more in the middle. I'm not expecting her to be the second coming of Red Tornado or anything like that, but it would be nice if she didn't have to be a bad guy, because, I mean, she's really as much a victim in all this as anyone else is. She's been sold a false bill of goods. Either way, it's good to see that Jon Kent is back. He's back, he's reunited with his father, and the Justice League have almost everything they need to fight back against Amanda Waller. The only thing that they don't have, that they're about to have, is what Batman has done, and that's taking John Starr hostage, because for those who don't know, John Starr is the Time Commander. And while the Time Commander is a character I'm not terribly familiar with, his inclusion here makes a lot of sense. He can control the time stream. Now, granted, he needs the hourglass to do so, which I think is in the possession of Green Arrow, who I'm pretty sure is the one who is feeding Flash information in this issue, but that's another story altogether. And considering that Time Commander was the one who, at the order of Amanda Waller, undid the reprogramming that had occurred with Failsafe a little bit more recently in Chip Zdarsky's Batman run, it's safe to say Batman is going to try to get the Time Commander to undo the undoing that he did. If they can get their hands on his version of the hourglass, they would be able to reverse time on Failsafe. And I imagine getting Failsafe on the side of the Justice League would very likely not only turn Amanda Waller's plan upside down, but would also, considering what Failsafe did earlier in this issue, hitting the hard reset on the Amazos, maybe he could undo that damage. Getting Failsafe on the Justice League side would definitely help in that regard to get the Amazos on their side. But as I had mentioned earlier that someone is communicating with Flash, well, it's at the end of this issue that Flash learns the stuff that we were talking about earlier with Amanda Waller working with the multiverse, and is bringing in multiversal variants of all of the different heroes and villains of the DC Comics universe to use against the Justice League, or, and, you know, the last remaining resistance of heroes and villains working together. But I like it. I like even some of the stuff early on. There's a lot of teases of some things to come. I like seeing that, you know, the Birds of Prey, the Titans, and, you know, the Justice League, the Justice Society, all of them are converging on each other, and you're creating this, you know, one single unit fighting force. Seeing characters like Hawk Girl and Mammoth, you know, of the Fearsome Five, having to work together to keep each other alive in the face of the fascism that Amanda Waller is perpetrating. I thought it was really cool. I gotta admit, I was very down on the idea. I talked about this in the first video. I was very down on the idea of absolute power. I wasn't very interested, but guess what? You got me. I'm interested. I'm really excited for this, you know, to get to its conclusion, not because I'm ready for it to be over, but because very rare is it that a DC Comics event, and really any big two, you know, comic book crossover, can hold my attention from beginning to end. A lot of times what happens, you know, comic book crossover events have the same problem I think that anime and manga do. They start off great, or they start off kind of rocky and then get better somewhere towards the middle. But no matter what the case is, they always end kind of trash. Not gonna lie. They usually end on some bullshit. Like, as much as I love My Hero Academia, I did not care for the ending of My Hero Academia. Not like in the way, I don't think it was as bad as, like, say, like Demon Slayer's ending. I thought Demon Slayer had a trash ending compared to how good it was up to that point. Naruto had a pretty garbo ending up to that point. But that's usually what happens when you have anime and manga that run as long as those do. And while comic book crossover events don't run that long, by comparison, you know, we're not talking about 200, 400, 500, 700, 800,000 some odd chapters. But yeah, I feel like big two mainstream comics, they have that problem. You know, you get a crossover event, they start off lit, and then towards the end, it's like, ooh, this, man, y'all didn't stick the landing here. And then sometimes you get it where it's like, oh no, it's actually the opposite. The event starts off trash, and then it gets better towards the end. But here, this has been consistently good. Even the tie-ins, like this, like honestly, this comic kind of slick made me shut up about tie-ins, even though I don't like all of them. But the ones that matter actually matter. It's not just an arbitrary comic that's been thrown together just to get your extra dollar. It's not that. It's actually good. They actually lend something to the story as opposed to just being a story that you could honestly do without. And I think this, like, if this were the way forward. I would be perfectly fine with a comic book crossover, more often than not. But yeah, this is great. If you think this is cool, you like this, hey, well, for one, make sure you hit that subscribe button and you hit the like, because it helps channel, it helps recommend more videos like this one to you on YouTube. But also, while you're here, you're getting ready to head out, you know what? Do me a favor, check out one of my more recent videos about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles relaunch by Jason Aaron. It's awesome. It's amazing. I highly recommend it. Trust me. If you are the least bit a fan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you owe it to yourself to check this comic series out and check out my video for it. But yeah, anyway, until next time, keep it plus ultra. Peace.